All right, people, that was Ahmed Shoaib. Rational faith. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Mufti. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rational Faith. You're doing it. Where are you doing us from?
I'm joining you from Yorkshire. I had a quick question. Well, it wasn't quick. It might take a bit of time. But I've read the I've read the book by Ahmed Usman, Moses and Akhenaten, and it's a very silly theory in my opinion. It's very. I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, but it's contradictory. It doesn't fit with the chronology of the Bible. It disrespects Moses by extension, and you can't really fit that theory in anywhere because the theory says that Moses was Akhenaten. No scholar no New Testament scholar, Old Testament scholar, rabbi takes this theory seriously. We know from history that Akhenaten marries his own daughter.
Why would rabbis and they be an authority anyway? Let's say if it holds some truth, why would that make a difference?
Well, because historically, and even according to the Quran, Moses was a Hebrew.
Right. So first of all, the biblical that point was that just a redundant point, or why do they hold value? Is that a redundant point?
No, because they have a scholarly tradition, and none of them have ever mentioned anything about Moses being Akhenaten.
But what's that got to do with the truth? Let's say if it is, but how is that? Is that a cogent argument that just because biblical scholars have it? So let's say biblical scholars say Jesus is the Son of God. So does that make him the Son of God?
No, I'm not talking about people that believe necessarily, but no one holds this opinion.
Unless if the argument has false positives, then it's a useless, redundant argument. So is that a redundant argument?
Okay, so if we ignore the religious scholars for a second, because
so you're starting off with the weak arguments.
No, because I'm trying to say how no one
makes the stronger ones. What are the stronger ones?
Yes, I'm saying look, that there's no evidence for Moses anywhere historically. There isn't any evidence for him anywhere. Archaeologically, there's nothing to even show that the Hebrews were in Egypt. And that's okay.
No, there's some findings to do with some interactions. Some of the steel mentioned Israel, but the Israelites, if you understand them to be an offspring of the kind of Hyksos, and because they were also Middle Eastern with Semitic roots. So if you understand that, then there is that there is findings to prove the Hyksos did live there. So,
but I don't think the Israelites were actually descendants from Hyksos. Hyksos were a different Semitic people that settled into Egypt.
But didn't you just begin that sentence with "I don't think"?
What was that again? Sorry.
But you began that with, "Look, I don't think." The Hyksos,
there isn't.
Middle Eastern Semitic people that did rule and live. They also ruled, by the way.
They weren't Israelites, though.
No, but the Israelites. What does Israelites mean?
Well,
Israelites is not a genetic term.
No, but the thing is, what we can't really do with
people who were Semitic. They were Semitic, the Hyksos, and they did reside in Egypt. So now you could say, I don't think these are the same, but it maybe, but maybe not. It's true. I'm not saying they were, but I'm saying I don't know how you have so much certainty to say they weren't.
But what we can't do is we can't sort of mismatch a bit of biblical archaeology with some sort of historical evidence. You can't say, oh yeah, but okay. So another thing is we know from history, from the records that have been found, that Akhenaten, the pharaoh, he married his own daughter.
Okay, do you know that?
Yeah, no, there's evidence for this. There's no disagreement on this, that he did marry his own daughter.
No, okay, what's the daughter's
name? If you search it, I can't remember, it's an Egyptian name, but you can search it up.
No, so look, I just asked you, do you know that as a fact? You said I know it as a fact. Now saying that I don't know who it was. Was it?
No, I don't know the name because it's an Egyptian name and I can't quite recall it.
Was it Samenkhare?
What was that?
You know, Samenkhare. Was it his alleged brother? Was it his successor? Was it? I mean, do you know as a fact? I'm just curious. Do you know as a fact, or you just there's a theory?
Well, history can never be factual. History, according to any historian, is what probably happened.
Some parts can be factual if there's certain, findings that are factually present. You can see them. So some parts can be factual. But look, what you see, what's the precise question? Did Akhenaten marry his? You're mixing up his sister.
No. His daughter.
Okay, I would have thought you would have gone to the sister because that was the.
No. Well, they've only been three. Well, a lot of people have said there's incest in ancient Egypt, but what we can prove from the records that we have is that only three pharaohs in the past have married their own daughter, and Akhenaten is one of them.
Right. Okay. So, right now, when you proved it, you say.
No, you can look this up. I'm not making it up. You can search it, and you'll find that I'm correct on this.
Okay, sure. So let's see. Okay, let's see now. Around on that death father came up. Akhenaten, how many daughters did? What was Akhenaten obsessed with? Okay, so we'll look this up. But okay, let's say if in this theory they claim Akhenaten married, let's say there was some incest that was going on. If you claim that, but this is not. This would not. These things wouldn't be factual. Okay, they would be theories. The general theory, by the way, that you must be familiar with if you studied Egyptology, is that the lineage was through the women.
Right.
Yeah? So to become the grand pharaoh, you had to marry the female from that descent. To become grand pharaoh. So usually this is where some of them had the kind of marriages with incestual marriages with their sisters, who were usually half sisters and things like that. So this was what I assumed when you were speaking about incest initially. You would have spoken about that. Was
I'm speaking about
in Egyptology. But as to, let's say, whether he married, now his daughter would not have been in that position anyway to give him the royal, whereas his sister may have been the half sister. So anything that's kind of secondary would just be speculative. It wouldn't be, in line. One is okay, an understanding that this is, for example, a president. To become a president, you got to do this. But things that happen at secondary levels, where are you saying this is documented? You're saying this is categorically documented in hieroglyphics. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they found inscriptions saying that she married Akhenaten and then she married the next pharaoh after that.
Okay, and so let's say this was the case. Let's just say.
But my point isn't necessarily the fact that it's wrong that because he married his daughter. There are lots of other points I can go through as well.
But because so far you've mentioned one about rabbis, which you said was a redundant point. Then
no, what I'm saying is
there was incest. Now I don't buy that with certainty. You can say he married his daughter, but if you claim that Akhenaten, let's say, did, but we do know that the pharaohs did used to marry their half sisters to gain access to the throne. That was a common thing. So if this did happen, like the Bible claims Abraham married his sister, that Sarah was his half sister. So if you're claiming there was, okay, is this the issue that there was some incest?
Well, yeah, and I don't think it would be really correct to say a prophet married his own
isn't that what I'm just saying? Not that I'm necessarily saying this is true. Isn't this also the theory? Isn't this also the theory with Abraham and his half sister Sarah?
No, but I don't necessarily believe everything in the Bible anyway.
Yeah, but also in some of the Islamic tradition, who follow that will accept that
he married his half sister.
They will say it's a half sister, and at that time in their Sharia it wasn't haram.
Yeah, well, I'll need to look into that, but I don't really. I'm quite skeptical of that anyway.
Yeah,
That
but
he'd married his half sister.
what is the actual issue? The incest is the issue.
Well, no. I said I've got a lot more points why it's
No,
false.
you see, that's so. If your argument is why would this is wrong, and if you claim Moses did this, then Moses can't be that person. Is
No,
this
not necessarily. I'm saying there are a lot more points. This is just one of them.
arguments? Like this isn't a point. This is just saying, look, incest is wrong, and if pharaohs were involved in incest, therefore Moses could never have been a pharaoh. But people in the past did all kinds of things. You know, they were incestuous. You know, if you go back 3,000-4,000 years, many people were incestuous. Now, I'm not saying that's right, but people did that. Is that the argument you're building this whole case on? That why did
I'm not building the whole case on it.
tell me the actual foundation, the strong argument?
Okay, well, the strong argument is that you can't really fit this idea of Moses being Akhenaten in the chronology of Moses' life anywhere, because it makes no sense.
Why not? No, that's not okay. That's just a statement.
Okay, can you do it then?
I can't
can you do it then? When exactly was he the pharaoh then? What point of his life was he the pharaoh?
You'd go with if you're going with Akhenaten, you're going with Akhenaten.
So you're saying no, but then that doesn't make sense. Why he'd hit someone and run away, and then why he'd argue with the pharaoh?
Exactly. So make the argument, for God's sake. I want the actual argument. What's the argument? Like you've not made an argument. You just said so. Okay, so when was he then? He was. Let's say we go with this argument. Akhenaten. I've answered.
No, what I'm saying is, look, if you believe that he is Akhenaten, you'd have to ignore all the other evidence.
Give me the cogent argument to kill this debate.
No, you can't. It's not really like one argument. It's the fact that you look at the narrative presented in the Quran and the Bible, and then you look, does it make sense for him to have been Akhenaten? And the evidence doesn't match up.
So I'm asking, what is the killer? Give me the death switch. What kills it? Like I want something strong. You've not given. So far, you've said rabbis, then you accepted that was wrong. You've said incest, which I said incest is wrong, but is that what you're building this on? So you said no, I'm not building it on that, so it's useless mentioning it. Then you said the fact that if he was Akhenaten, when would he be? And I said, well, he would be in the time of Akhenaten. So he said, oh, duh. Okay. There's so many different arguments put together.
Okay, fine. Okay. So we know from the Quran that Moses, he grew up in the royal household. He saw someone beating a slave or a Hebrew, and he punched him. He ran away to Midian.
Okay, so okay. Now you see, you're giving a story, yeah.
No, but let me just quickly finish off.
Tell me you see now the story is going to.
Now, where would you fit Akhenaten in any of that? Because after he had the argument with Pharaoh and the Israelites were freed, then they went into the desert. So when was it? And we know that.
Where does the Quran mention this though?
Because the what?
Where does the Quran? See, you're giving me a story. The Quran doesn't mention it as a story. You're mentioning it mentions bits. So you got to tell me the bit that is the problem, so we can then discuss that bit. Now you're just telling me a story which you already believe. So you're saying,
no, but the thing is,
tell me the bit that you disagree with.
No, but the thing is, you
the other story, I will then tell you how it is.
No. Because the thing is,
the argument. You mentioned killing a man.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So was the Akhenaten then?
So if we go with, by the way, just to be clear, I've said that I'm not saying with certainty Moses was Akhenaten. However, I've said reading these theories, it seems very plausible that he was Akhenaten. Till now, I'm still kind of researching it, but it doesn't seem to conflict in any detrimental way to the theory so far. So let's take an example, like you mentioned the verse that he enters, that he sees a man arguing and he kills this man. Yeah? And then somebody comes and warns him, and then he runs away.
Yeah, would a pharaoh run away? Would a pharaoh just be wandering about?
Yeah. So what we do know is that Akhenaten does leave Amarna and disappear.
Yeah, I know that.
So let me tell you the history to some of that the findings show. They show that so the Amarna letters show that Akhenaten started to get condemned by several people about the killing of two priests, especially one particular priest. Now, who was killed under his reign, where he was, and Akhenaten had not done justice for it at all. He'd kind of left the killing. Now, according to this theory, let's say this priest who was not in favor of Aten, the one god, and was in favor of other gods, got into a dispute. Hence, the Quran does not say he was an Israeli. He says min shi'atihi, from his group. Now, Moses takes the side. Let's say he is Akhenaten of the one true God, and this person, he hits him, has him killed. Now, he doesn't do any, there's laws in place. He doesn't
have him killed. He punches him.
Yeah, let's say he killed him. He has him struck down. Wakazahu. It doesn't say darabahu, it says wakazahu, yeah? Now, look, let's say he has him executed. He kills him. Now, there's supposed to be retaliation, supposed to be some kind of thing. He doesn't. It says, فَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ. So somebody comes from a far off point from some city who tells him, he does not say, the Quran does not say the Pharaoh is after him. He says, إِنَّ الْمَلَأَ يَأْتَمِرُونَ بِكَ, that the council are conspiring against you. Then he runs because he sees that he's losing certain support. And it's after he flees that he receives revelation. He's not, or he sees the burning bush and stuff like this. So he may have had some revelation before, but at that point he has the burning bush experience and all of that, and he goes to Midian, whatever, does all of these things, and then he comes back. Now, I'm just saying, how is that? It's a different take on the story, but how has it clashed so massively?
Because it's not really a theory that has any evidence. What you're doing is you're taking a bit of evidence from here, a bit of evidence from there, trying to fit it.
No, let me tell you something. The Quran does not give you a coherent story of Moses. It gives you glimpses.
It builds upon the Old Testament.
Exactly. You're building on only the Bible.
The Quran does that.
No, you are.
Because the Quran is addressing a people who are familiar with that story.
Yeah, but it's not addressing you with that familiarity.
But the people at the time would have known what was talking about. They wouldn't have thought Akhenaten.
You're already wrong.
God?
The Quran was addressing. Look, the Quran would reveal glimpses. The Quranic stories are not complete stories except for the other stories are very short glimpses. You are just filling the rest in from other religions. Like you have this story of Moses, which is mainly given to you from biblical sources. Now, some glimpses of the Quran, you've already superimposed them naturally because it fits into that biblical narrative that you've been brought up with. So if you as a kid were brought up with Akhenaten being Moses, you would have fitted it in with that story. But it's because you weren't. You were brought up with the Israelite story. The Quranic Musa fits into that. But if the Israelites had believed that he was Akhenaten and taught you that since you were a kid, you would have accepted that. So the Quran, what I'm asking is the conflict. I'm not asking, does it conflict with rabbis or priests? I'm asking, where does it conflict with the Quran clearly? I don't mean just a slight, I mean a clear contradiction.
Okay, Moses was a Hebrew and he was adopted.
So according to this,
Akhenaten was a son of Amenhotep, the descendant of him. It was his son.
Yeah, but according
to you wouldn't give a pharaoh to an adopted son. You'd give it to a descendant, or if not, it's someone related.
Okay, so according to this theory, he was.
It's not really. A theory sort of devalues what I'm saying. If you understand.
It's a theory, yeah. So according to this theory, he was the son of Tai, who was the daughter of Yusuf, who was an Israelite. So, and since the pharaohs considered their lineage to be matrilineal, he would have been considered an Israelite as well. So he was a combination of both. So
how would he?
Hence, according to this story, when he's told to speak to the Israelites, that, and he says, Rabbi Yassirli, and like make my tongue easy and help, call my brother who will help me. Watch the, he can strengthen my matter and make this wahlul uqdatan min lisani, make my tongue flow. Some people interpreted this, oh, maybe he had a stammer. Why is he saying wahlul uqda? And this was because he didn't grow up with the Hebrews. And even though he had some connection with them, he didn't speak it fluently, according to the Akhenaten theory. Did you know, by the way, according to the Akhenaten theory, the Wazir of Akhenaten, do you know his full name? His
no, I'm not sure.
The Wazir of Akhenaten. All right. Okay. His surname was El, and he was. Let me bring up his. Right. I'll have to find it. So he had a combined name with the surname El, which was for God, which was a Hebrew name. So Egyptians generally didn't have that name. Now, which meant that his Wazir of Akhenaten, at least, was from that kind of the Hyksos kind of descendants, who was somebody that worshipped El, which quite comfortably sits in with just him, if this Moses and a connection with the Israelites. Did you also know Amana, which is the English spelled Amarna, right? Now in Arabic, right, not Arabic, in its essence, in its origin, the vowels, the Egyptians write vowels, yeah. So it was actually would have been spelt as like Imrana, which could be pronounced in some ways similar to Imran or Imrana. Or now this is also the household from which Musa in the Quran descends. That's interesting. That's a great coincidence as well. The names Amrana is actually also in the Quranic version the household from which he descends. Musa. I'm just saying, okay, that's a coincidence. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying there's no coincidences. Obviously, he's built his theory on something.
Yes,
but I'm saying that the theory.
Where's the kill switch, man? I want to I want something powerful to kind of put it. I said
he was adopted. I said that he's adopted, and you wouldn't give the lineage to an adopted son.
Where does it say that he had to have been adopted?
You don't believe he was adopted by the...
Oh, sorry. How do you get the lineage? Right, the lineage, as I explained to you, doesn't come through the boy, it comes through marrying the daughter. So he actually marries that sister who was half-sister to him, who was from the pure pharaohs. That's how you become a pharaoh. You didn't become it through the boys, it was actually matrilineal, it was through the women. But then the man kind of ruled, but by making her the main queen.
No, but the Musa was the son of a Hebrew woman. It was the son of a Hebrew woman who she cast into the water.
And Tai was the daughter of Yusuf, according to this theory, who would make her a Hebrew.
Yeah, but there's no real support for this theory, if you understand what I'm saying.
No, but break it to me, man, because I want it to be broken, but I'm asking you for something like, so far, this is an answer to everything you're saying, which is also a reasonable answer. You said, well, look, you said that, what about a Hebrew mother? And I've said this theory actually posits a Hebrew mother who was not the main queen.
Okay, but the thing is, we know who the mother of Akhenaten was, and it wasn't a Hebrew.
No, the mother of Akhenaten was Tai, who was the daughter of Yuya, who had strange appearances and seems to be of non-Egyptian origin. In history, Yuya is not, he seems to be somebody who's been made royalty, but wasn't actually from the royals. So it actually ties in with the story of Yusuf. I mean, have you even looked into, I'm assuming you've looked into this theory. So, look.
No, what I'm saying is this theory is completely rejected by every single historian ever. And
But now you see what you're saying. It's not every single historian. There's certain
there's
historians.
maybe Freud that agreed with it.
No,
and even he didn't say that.
No, but yes, but what didn't he say?
He didn't say that Moses was Akhenaten. He said he was a priest.
Yeah, but why didn't he say he was Akhenaten himself? He said he was Akhenaten's cousin, most likely. But why didn't he say his stepbrother or somebody very related, close to Akhenaten? But he didn't say he was Akhenaten. He thought he might have been Smenkere, his half-brother, or someone else. Why didn't Freud say in his book Moses and Monotheism that Moses was Akhenaten himself?
Because there's so much historical evidence against it.
No,
I'm just saying, like, he would have known.
Why he didn't say it.
No, but I'm just saying, like, everyone.
I can tell you the reason why he didn't say it.
Okay, go on.
The reason is Akhenaten's tomb was found and known, like it's there.
Yeah.
So Moses is missing. So
yeah.
Akhenaten. But recent technology has shown it's not Akhenaten in that tomb. It's somebody way too young to be in that tomb.
I believe they found another tomb of what would have been Akhenaten, but it was empty.
No, the tomb, exactly. So Akhenaten's body was not in the tomb allocated to Akhenaten, but in Freud's time, he didn't know that.
No, but they say the body was stolen.
No, in Freud's time, the tomb of Akhenaten was allocated to Akhenaten, and they didn't know that the body wasn't Akhenaten's. They didn't have that kind of technology then. So according to Freud, because Moses disappears and is probably killed by the Israelites or whatever, the guilt theory, the body is missing of Moses, and Akhenaten's body is found, and this was a core principle, core argument. So he felt that, okay, it couldn't be him. Maybe it was his half-brother or his cousin brother. But this point of Freud, recently we've realized actually wasn't factual. Akhenaten is not in the tomb of Akhenaten. So his body is missing. Yeah,
but the reason why it's missing is because it's stolen.
No, because there's a different body in there.
No, what I'm saying is the fact that
there is a body there's a mummy in Akhenaten's tomb. It's just not Akhenaten. They think it might even be a woman that's in there, but it's not Akhenaten because of what his age and stuff like this. They've determined the bones and the teeth and stuff ain't like that. So now, this is a crucial finding that obviously Freud didn't know. But my point is, what's your something cogent, man?
Okay, so you believe he was Akhenaten? He would have been the pharaoh then?
No. So now, look,
he would have been the pharaoh.
Going back to my point, I didn't say that this with certainty was a fact. I said that, look, I've read these theories and I feel that they are plausible, and there's nothing so far that I've read that is categorically in contradiction with Islamic teachings.
No, but the thing is, I can sort of make many theories which may sound plausible, but if you think about them deeply, they make no sense. So the idea that he was Akhenaten, he didn't free the Hebrews, and then he... Okay, so if he, as a pharaoh, could have freed the Hebrews, yet he didn't. He historically he used slave labor.
You gotta remember something. The story of Akhenaten doesn't work like that. So the story of Akhenaten is at Thebes. He is kind of raised, and then as he kind of trains and becomes more, he from his forefathers is influenced by Aten, the one god. Now he then, by the way, Hebrew, which with Egyptian, you find a correlate substitute between the D and the T. So the way you have in Hebrew, Adonai, my Lord, if that was a T, Atonai, Aten. These are also similarities with Aten. But anyway, coming back to the main thing, that he was influenced by some of his forefathers. They say especially Amenhotep and some of them about Aten. As he starts getting more power, he starts banning all the other gods and so on. And then eventually, what he does is he moves to Amarna and he sets up his city there. He moves from Thebes. He doesn't kind of stay in Thebes. And so he moves to Amarna, he sets up his thing there, and he rules in Amarna for, I don't know, whether it's 12 years or something. But from Amarna, he fled. And then this theory is that whilst he fled, because there is no pharaoh, then these substitute pharaohs come in. Back at Thebes, not at Amarna, because Amarna was called, it was dedicated, it was the city of Aten. It was for the other ones, but they went back to Thebes. I mean, they never went back to, they were already in Thebes. So the kind of people who become the new pharaohs, they are all in Thebes. And it's when he comes back here with the royal scepter that people recognize him, with this.
Where does it say the royal scepter in the Quran?
No,
it says the staff.
It says the staff, yeah. What do you want?
And if it was a royal scepter, you wouldn't be using a royal scepter for farming sheep. It would sort of be like using a ceremonial sword for battle. You wouldn't do it.
No, but the scepter was a staff as well. It was like a long staff with a thing at the top.
Yeah, but when God says to him, "What's in your right hand?" He says, "My staff. I lean on it. I use it for sheep, I believe."
Yeah.
So I don't believe he has a staff. I don't think it mentions in the Quran that he has a staff before fleeing. No, before fleeing to Midian, does he?
No, so
does it say that?
Yeah, but it doesn't say it doesn't. Like it doesn't say anything.
Okay,
so does it say when he fled to Midian he took clothes with him?
No, let me just finish my point. No, let me finish my point.
Mention when he fled to take a sandwich. I mean,
let me finish my point. So it's most likely staff made from a lot of scholars have said it's made out of an almond tree, and that was a staff used at the time for farming.
Where'd you get this almond tree from?
Well, they grow in Midian.
No, so this is just like it's a saying in the Quran.
No, but this is more likely though, isn't it?
No. So where on earth are you getting this nonsense from? That it came from an almond tree. A moment ago, you said there is no proof on earth that Moses existed, but somehow there is categorical proof that his staff was made from an almond tree.
You do believe he went to Midian?
Look, yes, he went to a place. Yes, we're not saying he didn't.
Okay, and he did become a farmer.
I don't know about farmer, but
he did have sheep. Did they not say that?
Oh, you're talking about whether he pastured. Yes.
Yeah, pastured, yeah.
Pastoralists are slightly different to farmers.
Yeah.
Yes, so, okay. Look, the question...
So does it make sense that his staff would be used for his sheep?
Why not?
So it wouldn't have been a royal scepter then, would it?
Why not? That's what I'm asking. In fact, the verses of the Quran are almost raise your suspicion, don't they, when you read them on this topic? Because, you see, Allah asks him, وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى? What is that in your right hand? Now, first of all, this seems to be a very redundant question. Like, it doesn't, why is God even asking this question? Like, it doesn't, like, God doesn't say, and by the way, what are you wearing on your shoes or this, on your feet or the sandals? And by the way, what is that you're wearing on your back? Oh, it's a shirt. Okay,
yeah, well, he's now, asking him because he's going to show him a miracle.
No, because he could have just said, Allah could have just said, throw your staff, yeah? He could have just said. He doesn't need to say, oh, by the way, what is that? Oh, is that a staff? Oh, wow, well done. Now,
I think God knew what it was, though. He's sort of going to surprise him with a miracle.
No, so why ask him, what is it?
No, it's just a way of, like, God's going to surprise him. So he says, what is it? He says, it's a staff.
No,
because he's going to say to him.
Point that doesn't make any sense. That what
why?
Is so? Yes. So, for example, let's say every single thing that is about to, let's say God's about to do something. He doesn't need to say. Also, so let's say you believe that. Let's say God is going to allow Jesus to bring a person back from the dead. So he's going to ask him first. So Jesus. So what is that? It's a man. Oh, so what is the man? Oh, he's a dead man. Okay, now we're going to bring the dead man back. I mean, is this how God works?
No. I think the purpose of the story was that God's going to transform.
Not story, verse.
Okay.
What is that in your right hand?
Because so God says to him.
Is this trivia? Is this according to you? It's just trivia. God just
no, I never said that.
What's the purpose?
Okay, so God says to him, Moses, what is in your right hand? He says, it's a staff. I use on it. I lean on it.
Let's stop there for a moment. Then I'm going to come to this as well.
Yeah.
It's a staff. He says it's a staff. So is this trivia so far? Why ask him? Why not just, because you're going to say,
Well,
oh,
I'm sure. Well, God knows what it is.
no.
So why are you asking? So what? According to you, why ask him? He knows what it is. God knows what it is.
Shabash, right? But he's also told us, hasn't he? Like this is revelation, so it's a purpose. So either this part is, it's just trivia. God's just asking him, by the way, what's that? It's a cup. Okay, now drink. Say Bismillah. Is this so? Basically, that's what you're saying. Like if I was to say to a child, "Oh, I want you to drink," so I say, "Okay, so what's that? That's a cup. Okay, now pick the cup up and drink." So this is what you're interpreting. Allah is saying to Moses, instead of saying, "Look, throw the staff," he's saying, "Oh, by the way, what's that? Oh, that's a staff. Okay. Why do you have it? Oh, okay. Throw it. Is this the God speak that's going on?"
No, well, God is asking him, what is it? And for him, it's an ordinary object. So he answers, oh, it's just a staff.
So, okay,
and
now
God says,
let's go to his point now. It's a staff, yeah?
Yeah.
Why does Moses, so to speak, over-explain what it is? Did God ask him, what do you do with it?
No, he didn't.
So God asks, what is it? According to you, it's just trivia, yes? God says, what is that?
No, I didn't say that. But...
No, because you haven't given a reason, so it's just trivia then. So God says, what is that? He says, he answers the what. God doesn't ask why. He says, what? He says, here, asaya, my staff. Why does he go on to over-explain what he does with it?
Because to him,
almost as though he's justifying why he has it.
I think it's more about the fact that why is God asking me about a stick that I have in my hand?
So God doesn't know what a stick does.
No, he's thinking.
He's trying to teach God.
No, this has happened throughout the Quran, where the prophets over question something.
Show me one example in the Quran.
Of what?
Of this, where the prophets over-explain.
Not necessarily over-explain, but ask questions which are.
One example in the Quran where prophets over-explain. There isn't a single one like this with Moses.
No, not over-explaining, but answering, asking a question. This
raised the suspicion of scholars in trying to explain this historically. So they came up with all kinds of explanations and saying, why did Moses over-explain this? So some people said, oh, maybe he's just trying to talk to God. Maybe he's trying to do this. Because this is the only point in the Quran where this happens. That God hasn't asked him that. He's over-explaining it. And it's almost as though he's justifying why he has this particular stick.
But surely if God would ask him,
they say that being asked is almost being rebuked. But if it is, let's say it is this Pharaoh thing, let's just say that this verse fits better with that theory than it does with the standard theory. Just being fair. I'm not saying Moses has to be Akhenaten, but I'm just saying, looking at this point, if this was the royal scepter, and God says, by the way, what's that? Because since it represents a power which is meant to be, in some ways, quite bad. So why has Moses even still got it? And he is just justifying by saying, no, I lean on it. Look, atawakkau alayha. That's not even that's like, what is that? Like, I lean on it, I use it for sheep, I do other things with it. Over justifying it. This verse actually, if you drew a table and you looked at all the verses, which verses support the Akhenaten theory, which verses support the Hebrew theory, this would actually go in the Akhenaten. Look, I think right now we've gone on an incredible amount of time. I did say I was going to keep it short and brief, but I did, you know what, because your discussion was interesting, and I know there's other people out there that do are intrigued by this. What I want to say very clearly, reiterate, is look, I'm not saying to people that this is that, because we don't have facts, but we have theories, we have evidences. We're looking at certain kinds of evidences which may be sometimes subject to interpretation. We're looking at them. I've looked at this initially just like you, thinking this is crazy. I read into some things. I don't buy into all things that it's not just Ahmad Usman. Mustafa Gudela has written on it. Other people have written on it. Mustafa has actually written on it before Ahmad Usman. In the 90s he wrote on it. Now, it's not all of the things that they say always make sense. Some of them I've thought, nah, this doesn't make sense. Some of them I have found quite intriguing. The coincidences to be very wow. Okay, what another coincidence. So I do find it plausible, but I'm still investigating. And I encourage people to investigate it. Show me the light as well. But if you've got something cogent and, like that just, like it's like somebody said, disprove evolution. They said it's easy. Show me a rabbit from the Precambrian era. Just pull out a fossil that predates this. It's a death switch. The argument's over. And if I do find a death switch, okay, fair enough. I'm not so invested in this. It's not like Akhenaten is from my lineage. It's not like I get something out of this. So, but I find it interesting. So that's all I'd say, is that the whole point is keeping an open mind. Rational faith. Shukran for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try and DM me on Instagram if you're interested or anything.
Sure.
I can make a better argument when I'm writing than speaking, because I don't have everything on hand.
Well, you see, that's very telling. You see, because cut and paste this one, no, nice.
No. I don't have a good memory, so I can't really remember much.
Hi, yahan maar kha gaya. This is where you.
No. I mean, if I had everything, I'm on my phone.
You're saying I'm just remembering things.
No, I can't like recall all the names off the top of my head. No, but I didn't mean any disrespect.
No, and I never took it in a disrespectful way. I get intense sometimes when I engage a debate, but it's not in a kind of like there's no animosity. It's just intense.
No, but for me, it's just more of the fact that if you look at the entire theory in a cohesive way, it doesn't really fit. But to each their own, to be fair.
Right. Cool. All right, man. I'll leave you to rational faith. Considering it's rational faith you've called it, it's not very rational, is it? No, I'm joking. Take care, man. Stay blessed. Much love. Over and out, man.